torpedo.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
We have May 2018 Treasurer's Reconciliation Report filed and the May 2018 Collective Fees filed.
Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Planning Commission meeting tonight. Solid Waste Management District Board meeting tomorrow. Fire station groundbreaking tomorrow. HBA barbecue tomorrow. Chief's got a meeting Thursday, looks like. We got a MSPCP meeting Friday. Is that still on, or I thought they canceled that?
Yeah, I think they canceled it, I thought.
Okay. That's about it until next meeting.
Well, we were supposed to have a parks meeting today, but we canceled that, so. Groundbreaking, new fire station on Wednesday. I think that's all I got.
I'm going to meet with Chief Schofield tomorrow, and then the Lions Club, we're going to go over to the health department at 1:15 and tour that. And yeah, got the groundbreaking. Can't go to the Chiefs meeting Thursday night because you got to go to the Cole County Republican Ice Cream Social because Kristen's selling tickets, and if you don't buy them,
Then what?
You don't have to buy them.
then what?
I took two. I don't buy them yet.
Oh,
So what if you just buy them and you don't go?
Shh, don't give me that option, 'cause I can't go.
that's all I've got.
Kristen, y'all are on the same page. Just buy it.
It's easier to
Why have the
give her
socials?
$20.
Ask for donations.
There you go. It's gonna be too hot to keep ice cream from melting
It's
anyway.
gonna be too hot for a groundbreaking over there at the fire station.
I'll have fire hose take care of you.
Okay. Commission comments, bids and contracts. Bid award of 2018-503-1, 2018 Restorative Seal Program. Is that you?
I didn't think I'd be first.
Well, we're doing you first, and then we're going to.
We have, we've been doing the restorative seal program for the past several years. We do a cooperative procurement contract through bids from the city of Moberly. And this year, our contract amount is $74,239.50 with corrective asphalt materials. And I would recommend approval of this contract.
It's not a thick enough contract.
Got all the documents from Moberly, their bid and contract in it.
Is this just like chip seal, Eric, or?
It's a penetrating seal. We've been
Okay.
doing this, oh gosh, we've been kind of integrating it into our pavement preservation program over the past, I'd say going back close to 10 years, and kind of gradually started doing it on a regular basis. And we try to we try to do the roads that are recently paved to rejuvenate the asphalt binder in the mix. And we're seeing results, and I think over the long term, probably extend the life of our pavements out, maybe as much as 5 years. So it'll take several years to pay off, but the goal is we're not having, so we don't have to overlay every 12, 15 years, we can do a series of preventive maintenance and preservation to get our pavements to last a lot longer. So,
Okay.
long term, we see it as a benefit, and we're starting to see those results start to show.
Questions?
No,
Good.
I'm good with it.
I move that we sign the construction contract with Corrective Asphalt Materials for the 2018 Restorative Seal Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We got any unfinished business? Okay, new business, accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable. It's a little batch.
I move that we approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, county treasurer on investment report.
30 days.
Thanks, sir.
As we discussed a month ago, we were going to appear today again and give you an in-person summary of our investments thus far. The first handout that I gave you covers at the end of May, that's our May investment report is required by the county investment policy. It's showing, of course, 6.5 million there at the bottom, but the balance, of course, now that's invested is the long-term investments you all approved totaling $3 million, which are the notes. The notes are more than a year, bills are 12 months and less. So those two bills, general revenue for 1.5 and law enforcement for 2 million, appear on your second sheet, which is the summary of matured investments. And Sam, in particular, you had asked us to compare, which is on that second matured investments report, bank yield interest had we stayed the course, status quo, versus what we've received by virtue of all of us working together and investing in long-term and short-term U.S. Treasuries. And you can see there, interest received thus far, a little more, well, 11,600 versus 3,300 had we stayed the course. This doesn't, of course, include the amount that we've earned to date on the half-year, year, and year and a half, those three Treasury bills. We didn't bother to put that in there. We understood that, you know, until it matures, it's not money in your pocket. So, but that's in addition to the $11,617.55. Do you all have any questions about the report and the matured investments?
No, I think it's more than 3 times what we were making, so.
Exactly. Right.
I don't have any questions.
What are we investing going forward?
Now?
Yes.
Right. On the, I think the 7th of this month, was it 3.5 million total? That there were two 30-day bills that matured, and Mark provides my deputy treasurer provides a kind of written summary to Debbie and Kristen, kind of calculating what he thinks in the coming month will leave us, you know, at 34 million, above 34 million to invest. Mark, do you want to give that quick summary, even though they don't have a copy of this?
Yeah, right now, as of today, there's about 37 million in the bank, and I was trying to be a little more conservative, because in the previous month, well, we knew the 1.5 million was coming out for the health department. We knew that. We tried to account for that. There was also about 600,000, I think, that went out to the cities that I should have tried to communicate that with Kristen and Debbie. I was not aware that was coming out. The road and bridge tax money, I guess that gets distributed to the cities. So that put us, I did not include that in my estimates, that put us below 34 million for a while during the last 30 days, which if you go back to your matured investments, as you can see on the 1.5 and 2 million, what we would have earned in the bank was higher because we actually dipped below 34 million for a while. And we still made money, we still did. You know, we still made, you know, more than $2,000 more during that time period than we would have just got the bank. But I'm still learning the best way to make these estimates, and of course they are just estimates. So, I believe I think there's some bills coming due soon on some projects, so I tried to make more of an allowance for that. So right now I'm estimating that we would just invest 1.5 million in the next 30 days.
So we're looking at
that.
at 1.5 million this time, as opposed to what we've done in the past. I think we went up to 3.5. We're now comfortable with 1.5 million for 30 days. We're not in the 60 and 90 day investment mood right now. I think the rates continue to tick up. Federal Reserve Fed funds rate will tick up again here in a while, so we'll just keep doing the 30 days. I think everybody seems to be comfortable with that duration, and as long as everybody's okay with 1.5, we'll go ahead and purchase those today or tomorrow and come back and have another fine meeting in 30 days with you all.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Update on the renovation of the new health department building.
Where do you want to start? Building, walked through with Christie a couple weeks ago, pulled everything out that she didn't want, filled up all the dumpsters. They still have not removed the x-ray machine as of today, this morning.
Is the soda machine gone?
Soda machine is gone.
Okay.
Air Systems out of Columbia has been in working, Meyer Electric's been in working, doing lighting. Precision Security's been in doing their camera work and security alarm work. Missouri Builders is gonna be out in the next week or two to go completely over the roof. Runkle is scheduled to start July 2nd for painting, patching, and repair. Just have some issues, what you wanna do. We're gonna have to get somebody in there to put some shut-offs on the water where the dental chairs and cabinets were at, so we can get those floors patched. I sent y'all quotes for what I got for Summit. Need to know about the kitchen, what we're doing there, because I hate to start painting and patching and restart ripping out walls for that. It'd be just a waste of material.
The Cosmos, we toured last Tuesday night, and then Wednesday they sent some questions about the kitchen, so I replied back. They asked for a timeline, I just said the sooner the better, so I don't have an answer on that yet, but I told him that we wanted to do it before, obviously, the painting and flooring occurred.
Called two companies. I sent y'all pictures of the 5 windows I found that are rotted out. Brady's and Scruggs were out to look at those yesterday morning, and hopefully I'll have a price by the latter part of this week for you guys. Other than that, we're moving right along.
So, then you'd send us some proposal on the shower and,
Yeah, she's asked for a shower, which was like 50-something, 5,700 to cut the floor, put the walls up in it, tie the drain and all that into shower lines, all that.
and the reason that you need the the shower, Christie, can you kind of?
Sure. So each of our restrooms now currently have showers, and depending on what's going on, especially with our environmental staff, it's a good idea that they can come back to the office and change their clothes if they've been investigating a hotel complaint with bed bugs or something like that. They can come back and shower and put their clothes in a bag, or we've talked about putting a washer and dryer in. They could even wash them and dry them really, really hot right there. Or, you know, I mean, there is a possibility that we could have something else happen at the office that they would, one of the nurses would need to take a shower. We could use it for decon if things like something like that happen. And of course, with promoting worksite wellness, staff could also use it if they exercised at lunch. So, and like I said, currently there's one each of the ladies and the men's restroom. But at the new building, it seemed like there was one bathroom that we could change into a bathroom, shower room, and everyone will have to share it. We'll just have one unisex shower room.
Thoughts? I thought it was a lot of money, but
I think there probably is a need for it. Seriously, you know, it's,
And it's not like we're lacking for restrooms there. There's
No,
like
I-
12 or 14, so turning one into a shower is fine.
Do that or lose time for someone having to go home and take showers
Yeah.
and stuff. They're
Yeah.
living in one of those.
Exactly.
yeah, I think some of the stuff that your environmental people are going out through, I
Mhm.
think I'd take a shower even if it wasn't bed bugs.
Well, even sewage. I mean, there's lots of things that there.
Poison ivy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
What? Oh, he was looking at me.
Mm.
How often would you use it? I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be used that often. Are you thinking it'd be used that often to justify?
I think the one in the
Putting it in.
ladies' room is probably used 3 or 4 days a week. I don't know how often the men's is used because I don't go in there. But I know that the ladies use the shower a lot, obviously for exercise. But I know that, you know, I know Joe has gone home before because he didn't have a change of clothes at the office after doing a bed bug inspection. So I think if that was there, and they were prepared, it would be used a lot.
Okay. Where are we at on the budget as far as all that goes? I know we were,
well, obviously, some things have changed a little bit, you know, some signage that we didn't do, and then I don't know, has Meyer looked at the pulling electric out
They
to?
have not.
Okay,
I wanted to get the inside, I figured the outside, wait until, wanted to get the inside rolling, keep it rolling, so we can get it done.
so I mean, in Summit's, proposal, I don't know, is this a cooperative?
I looked to see if they were on, they are not, so it, you know, it's probably gonna have to go out for bid. I don't know, the windows, depending on which one we go with and what the price is, that one could be on a cooperative agreement. It might not be, depending on who gets it.
Could we purchase the windows and pay somebody to install them?
Scruggs is on a cooperative agreement, for all that stuff. Brady's is not that I've seen anywhere.
Okay, but we could bid the windows out and
Yeah.
buy the windows and have somebody else install them.
Right.
There was 3 items on this Summit, install mop sink, we probably need to get that done, I just think.
Yeah.
This washer box and dryer vent,
Yeah, it's in that same room that we looked at.
okay. And capping off these water lines and waste lines. So there's about $3,500 there that really needs to probably happen.
I can get some more bids if you want to call a couple contractors, get some more bids on this shower. That way we'll have at least 3 bids, if that works for supervise.
there any way we could raise that or something and not have to demo the floor?
I asked them, they've gotta get in and get to the P, that are gonna have to put P-trap in,
Okay.
because, you pull a toilets don't have P-traps on them, so they're gonna have to get in and put a P-trap, so sewer gas doesn't come back up.
What do you guys think on these other three things? I mean, did you see those, Jeff, or trying to find it?
Yeah, I was trying to find it. Is that the email you sent just from Summit?
Yes.
Maybe you don't delete your emails that fast.
It's only money.
Yeah.
Precision.
Precision.
Did you find it? No?
Found one for the security stuff. The one attached anywhere. It was after that one, wasn't it?
Yes. Should have been 2 securities, 1 Summit.
What is the subject title on that, Chris?
Here, I was gonna try to send it to you here real quick, if I can get there. Brain's not working right.
No, I just found it now.
Did you?
Yeah, it was back farther than I thought.
I mean, Christie thinks that we may get some money from WIC.
Right, we just haven't.
There's a
heard back
possibility
yet.
that we might get some
Right.
WIC funding to help with some of this, so. Obviously, there's always things that are gonna come up, so.
No, I'm okay with it.
I have something to add.
Oh, God. Yeah, yes, sir.
So we also get a bid for the cabling. So there's a need to add several extra runs for network cables. And then also, we have to purchase two new switches as well, and some wireless access points. And we kind of talked about the wireless access points earlier, but that's also cost to consider in making all this happen.
You got some numbers?
Yeah.
Where are they?
So, I'll send you the email, but round numbers, you're looking at, can we do round numbers at county, or I have to say specific? Okay.
Well,
anyway.
approximate numbers.
Okay, so you're looking at about 10,300 for the switches.
Okay,
And then about 4,400 for the wiring,
okay.
and about 4,500 to 4,800 for the wireless access points. So you're looking around 20.
20.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the budget.
Well, what they found was there's a lot of rooms there that don't have any kind of network access at all, and phones in particular are like a safety issue. So, if they're working with a client and they have to call out, then they need to be able to call out from the room they're in.
And the wireless access points, we're gonna reduce the number of computers we have by having the nurses use laptops. Like right now, they have PCs up in their offices and down in those exam rooms. We're just gonna have laptops and have them carry them, but then they need the wireless access. But yeah, the phones, they need those for safety, to call insurance or whatever.
So in the process of talking about the communications, we also talked about whether whether we need to add a circuit out there, or whether we move the circuit we have at the current health department to the new location. So that kind of plays into, has there been discussion about the disposition of the old health department with you guys? So like if we're gonna use it for county use, then I don't know that it makes sense to pull the circuit out if we're gonna just put it in.
We're gonna have to sell it to pay for all this. I'm serious, that's what I think we need to do, just get rid of it. If we're gonna do this stuff and you wanna do it up and have all these amenities, then we gotta look at ditching it as soon as possible and use that money to pay for this stuff. I'm fine with this stuff, Chris. I mean, I think while you're going in there and doing this, but we need to look at the old building too. How soon would we be out of the old building? How soon can we get rid of it?
I'm shooting, hopefully have everything done by October 1st.
Okay.
That is my target date.
Out of the old building into the new?
Into the new one.
Okay. Did we ever get a price tag on the old building?
Try.
I have it insured for a certain amount, but doesn't mean it's not.
I thought we talked about having the assessor try to give us an idea. Or is that something else?
I probably did it when we first took over that building, but I haven't asked.
I don't know, you'd probably know better than him.
We can try to find some comps or something, to get an idea. So. But I mean, is that what we're planning on doing, is getting rid of it? Or we're, you know, looking at
But
some other option?
We do need to discuss, because I actually had a realtor call yesterday as somebody who is looking for something about that size, and I said, that's one thing we really haven't talked about. So, you know, I think the main thing we want to do is get you into your new building, but yeah, we do have to figure out what the disposition of the old building is going to be.
But if we're gonna get her into the new building and do all these extras and spend more money,
Mhm.
then we need to have a plan to get rid of the other one and get some money back. So, unless you're wanting to keep it, I think we should start moving on that.
I don't want to sit on an empty building. It can be the Siberian annex, but people misbehave, to send them over there, but I think probably.
I'll be there with you, Larry.
We're all looking at you.
So,
Well, this is a
I mean, we could talk
We
about that.
haven't talked about it.
No, we haven't, so, I mean, let's
Yeah.
get it back on the agenda and we can talk about
Yeah.
it. See
I
what
think
we
we
wanna
could,
do.
News Tribune annex, but
So are you good with the lower three and wait on the shower, or you want, I mean?
I'll just, if we're gonna do it, and if they use it that much, that would be my only concern, is that it wouldn't be used that much, but, you know, even those few times, it'd be nice for them to have a place where they can do that, decontaminate.
So aren't we using Summit for some of the HVAC work, or no? Okay. Did we approve their proposal to pull the toilets and stuff, or?
Yeah, that's $50 an hour, what they were charges for that. They could probably have everything pulled in 3 hours.
I guess we just need to make sure that we're complying by the bid requirements here, and we don't get over that threshold. They're doing that other stuff, they're gonna probably get there pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get there real quick, because they've also got to do backflows that's already been scheduled, so that's going to shoot up some of that 35, 45, 190 days.
Okay.
I can call a couple of the contractors, get bids, and maybe that'd be the sub for it, or something for that shower.
Okay.
So I can see around it.
Let's just try to get it done, but let's try to comply with the bid requirements, so whatever we need to do. So.
when do we need to be doing what you're talking about, Brian?
Before October 1st, that's for sure.
No.
I've already,
Please.
Brian's already asked when he could get started, I said, you can get in there now, so.
Yeah. I can get all the infrastructure work done, and then it's just a matter of scheduling the circuit move with CenturyLink. I'll probably get with one of their engineers to see how we can best do that, because I'd rather not have a lack of service between, the old building and the new building. So we'll see if we can't figure that transition out to be better, so.
That price include fixing that 3-inch conduit back where it's separated? No.
Is there a lag time on getting the switches here, I guess, would be a big purchase.
Yeah, but I can have those here in plenty of time, so,
Okay.
yes.
Main thing's getting the wire ran and
Right.
everything in
Yeah.
place, and then all that stuff probably goes in at the end anyway.
Yeah, pretty close to the, because you wouldn't want it in there while they're doing their construction, but we can get the cable runs and everything ready, and then basically, you know, how construction goes, you go paint, you put the covers on, and you're ready to go, so.
So same way with that, I mean, is that, we're gonna have to hire somebody to do all that, or is a lot of the materials we can buy through cooperative purchasing and somebody else do it, or?
So the switches we can get by through cooperative purchasing and installation. And then, of course, we work with CenturyLink on our telco side. And then on the wiring, we'll be underneath that threshold if I get that work done on labor, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think we just need to get it done.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then get the other building sold.
Yeah, cost of that building just keeps going up.
Mhm.
The value of your building.
Cost of keeping it goes up.
Oh. Yeah.
Way out of range for what they're gonna wanna charge for that.
That was the other email.
He's also supposed to be getting back to me a quote for just doing the one door, the side door where they come and go from. And then the Precision Security's also giving me a price to do that too.
On similar work here.
Yeah.
I'll do a little more research on that before we do go forward with this.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we got all systems in all the other buildings, so there's some value there with keeping things the same, so.
Well, that's what I'm gonna see when she's just gonna come back with a price for doing just one door instead of all 4 doors.
Okay.
And then later on down the road, we won't get add doors later.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was really high.
There's no maintenance on this, unlike some other stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so you'll come back to us on that,
Yeah.
access control. Okay.
Okay. Moving ahead, signing of the maintenance agreement with Live Scan Machine.
Live scan machines are our fingerprint machines that we have that we utilize in the jail. It's just a contract we sign every year, we have the money in the budget. Don't look at the back page, you sign it. No, no, it's just the contract for it. Yeah, no, yeah, they're proud of it.
Is that the retina scan type thing? Or?
No, that's not iris scan, this is the actual fingerprint system and the mug shots that go into the system.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I move that we sign the maintenance and support agreement with MorphoTrack.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion and approval of the development agreement for Rainbow Drive Schaefer Cutter project.
Okay. I'd like to recognize Jeff Schaefer Cutter with the Shea Group, representing them today. Scott was not able to be here, he's out of town, so Jeff is going to speak on his behalf. But I'll just go through the basics on how this came to be, where we're at, and what I'd recommend going forward. The Shea Group acquired a portion of the old Klosterman development out in Pioneer Trail area, and they've split their development into 3 or 4 phases. Completed the first phase, which was Paradigm Drive. Second phase fronts Rainbow Drive, which is just west of an area that we completed curb and gutter and improvements on as part of the Pioneer Trail sidewalk project back in, I want to say 2015. And so their development is just west of there. With this development, since it's on an existing road, in the past, a developer can come in and do work or basically divide that property, sell lots attached to the existing road. There's not a requirement to do curb and gutter just because it's existing, and, you know, there's, you know, generally there's no plans to do an improvement on it. However, in this case, we do have a future goal of improving this project to the west. What we completed on the Pioneer Trail project, completing that to the west, we worked with Jeff and Scott to come up with a way in which they'd participate in part of the cost to do curb and gutter along that section of road, and then we'd also participate as well in doing some of the grading work, drainage work, additional work beyond what they would do. So worked it out, and I'll kind of go through the costs that we came up with. What we decided to do is Scott would contract this project, and we would reimburse him with an agreed amount. And the total cost of basically to do the street work and the curb and gutter came down to $63,823.50. And what we kind of worked out with Scott is they would contribute $20,000 to that, which is more than what it would cost to do curb and gutter along their side, but included some additional grading work. Our commitment as well would include the engineering that we've already paid for. Worked with CMPS to try to come up with a cost-effective way to do this, and they did a good job at keeping costs down, in which we could just utilize the existing pavement in place, do some widening and do an overlay. Some asphalt costs beyond what we're doing with an overlay on that road. There's about $13,000 in that, $13,000 in the engineering cost. And then some pipe cost, we're gonna provide the pipe to the contractor of about $5,000. So total county commitment, total project cost would be about $95,000. Our commitment would be $75,420.26. And then the shaper cutters would contribute $20,000 to that project. So.
Hey,
And Jeff, is there anything I left out of that? I think I covered the basics on, you know, how this came to be, where we're at, and we came up with a development agreement. Had some help from Jill getting a draft to start with, and she reviewed it and okayed this draft. And so I think it's just to the point that, you know, we want some commission input on this. Does this sound okay with you all as far as the contribution amounts? I think on your old side, that's probably the maximum that you feel comfortable contributing.
Yeah, Scott put some numbers to this when he was just talking about the curb and guttering along Rainbow. It was about in the 15 to 17 range, based on his past experience with this and the contractors subcontractors he deals with. Getting a little bit extra out of this, obviously Rainbow Drive's ultimately going to be a nicer, so there's some benefit to him to pay a little bit extra, and that's why he's, I think, agreed to this $20,000 proposal from his perspective.
And kind of the main reason why we wanted to work together to upgrade the road at the same time that they're doing their development. If they just go ahead and do what they're doing, their driveway's attached to the existing road, the ditches are left in place, there's pipes. Generally, maintenance-wise, not the easiest situation for us. Plus, with, I wouldn't say immediate future plans to do curb and gutter on the rest of Rainbow, but that's coming at some point. If we have to go in and replace all the driveways that they've poured, there's 7 or so lots, give or take.
I think there's 8 lots.
8 lots. If we have to go in and redo all those driveways, that's an added expense to us in doing a future project. And so we just saw it as a benefit to us, not having to incur those additional expenses in the future. And then on their side, it's a benefit to them as well to have curb and gutter rather than just a normal cross section with a ditch. So we see it as a win-win for both parties. You know, we're obviously committing more to the project than they are, but they are committing something that they probably wouldn't have to. They could probably just go and do what they're doing based on our subdivision regulations as they are now. So that's kind of where it's at, and I just would entertain any questions or comments that you all have.
questions or comments, I mean, you know, I met with Jeff and Scott, and, I mean, it's a good project, and obviously it'll help to finish that out and kind of finish that development.
Well, I think you asked one of the questions I had concerns about before was, you know, how are we gonna be throwing money towards somebody's project like this? Everybody's gonna want us to, but this is different because it's we're gonna probably put curb and gutter in there at some point anyway, and right now it kind of would mitigate a lot of that problems we would have with the driveways and such, so. Y'all pretty much addressed all the questions I had before, so.
We've done a smaller project similar to that out on the corner of Henwick and Rainbow. When Steve York built those houses up front end, we actually worked with him to extend the curb. He actually put the curb in, and then we did road work to tie it all back in. So, like Eric said, I think it's a good deal, just because we don't have to come back at some point. I think we all realize that there's a possibility, a strong possibility, that curb and gutter would be extended someday, and instead of having to take the driveways out, it causes, you know, interruption to the people living there. We can get it done right up front.
Yep, I'm fine with it.
Yep.
Think it's a good cooperative agreement.
Excuse me, we are overlaying all of Rainbow this year, so it'll coincide with all that. So we're just trying to, you know, do as much as we can at the best price we can get it, and we got good asphalt prices this year. So it's all, you know, it all makes sense in this case, and like Larry said, there's a little bit of precedent for doing something like this also, so. Anyway, I do have an agreement here that if you're comfortable signing it, the only suggestion that Jeff had would be on 3D, insert in front of payment on the last sentence, final payment to be processed within 30 days of completion of the project. And I think he was kind of leading to maybe to make a partial payment, just because if this extends out over a long period of time, Scott, like I said, he's fronting all the money, so if we could do a partial payment of an amount, and then the final payment would be made within 30 days after completion, and we know the exact cost. There could be a few little odds and ends that come up, change order wise, but should be minimal.
Who handles the change orders?
We would mutually agree to it, and it could just be, there might be some additional saw cut items like that, or additional rock. I mean, it'd be minimal at best. I think we had enough rock covered in there from what I saw. And I didn't mention, but the two contractors doing the work are George Schulte and Sons, Rydell Brothers. So Schulte's doing the excavating, grading, stormwater installation, and then Rydell is doing all the concrete work.
They're doing that for the Shea Group, right?
Yeah, for the Shea Group, correct.
So, I'm not sure that I understood you, but you were talking about a partial payment. I mean, I don't mind paying or reimbursing, and you know,
Chris, Mike, yeah.
we pay every like 15 days, so I mean, we can process payment, so I just kind of was curious what you thought there.
My concern was that if the project, for some reason, inspection failure, you know, how that can happen, if the project got delayed in its completion, and one of the contractors gave Scott a bill that he needed to pay, he's gonna pay the first $20,000.
Right.
And I think that's gonna mitigate the likelihood of there being any need for partial pay. These are contractors that Scott's dealt with before and has a lot of confidence in them, obviously.
Sure.
And a working relationship. I just thought, this is lawyer speaking, and actually father.
Right.
Okay, more than lawyer.
Businessman.
Don't get yourself in a bind because waiting on a final payment that may not be actually due per the contract for 60, 90, whenever the thing's completed. So allow at least for partial payments, and those are gonna be kind of, the county's gonna call the shots of whether partial payments are allowed.
Okay.
Anyway, we
No,
understand.
I mean, that's just like a progress payment on any other job,
It
right?
is.
Just what I was gonna say, it's nothing different than what we do on one of our projects.
So obviously, we'd reimburse you, I mean, turn in the
Yeah,
bill,
and
we'll
Scott's had-
process the payment, and,
Scott's had a great
Sure.
relationship with these guys too, so
Okay,
we're satisfied with it.
just was a little unclear what they were talking about there, but.
So, I mean, do we need to amend the agreement, or just kind of?
With this understanding, I'm comfortable
Okay.
with that I was gonna insert a word final, but why do that?
We can, when it's done, we can make a payment, and if there's still something hanging out there on one of the two, we can just make a
Sounds great.
straight payment and then finish it up at the end.
Sounds good.
That's good. Okay.
Sure.
That work?
Yep.
All right, well, I got the agreements here, so.
Okay. I move that we sign the development agreement with the Shea Group.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Signing of the agreement with CenturyLink.
Scott, stop by.
Can I approach Dick?
Arrest him.
Kiss my ring.
It's too valuable, but I'll hit Larry.
Goodness. Oh.
Anyway.
Boy, your collections just went up.
Okay, so I've been looking into bandwidth issues within the county internet, as far as the internet speed, bottlenecks and different things like that. And I've been upgrading equipment and different things like that too to try to alleviate any issues there. But I keep coming back to especially the remote locations. Each remote location is only allocated 20 megabits speed, which sounds like it's pretty significant, but it's only they're only guaranteed 10, and some of that is used for phones. So if you look at the general rule of thumb is a 2 megabit per user as far as how much speed you need, and that's just for general email use and web traffic and things like that. So I went through and I talked to CenturyLink, and I told them we needed to increase the bandwidth. And I looked at some other options too, but frankly, the least invasive and the most cost-effective way is just to go ahead and have them basically turn up the knob on our internet speed. And so that comes with a price tag of, and I left you that email from CenturyLink, they give you a good cost comparison there. But pretty much we're at around $500 a month additional spend on that, and it is for a 36-month contract to get that pricing. So I had Jill go over it and look at it, and I think everything is okay there. So I would ask that we do that we sign that.
I did have one question, because the agreement had the old health department building, and so Brian did look into it with CenturyLink as far as transferring, and they said
that is part of it, and that they would do that at no additional charge, and we would not be bound to the old location for that circuit.
And the only other thing I want you to know, we do bid the phone system out. In 2019 would be the year that we bid it again. This is part of that, but so we would be extending this at a different time period than the rest of the phone system would be. We would leave this out of the bid the next time until that 36 months come up again.
Wouldn't that all have to coincide?
We tried, but to get them to increase the bandwidth at this price, they would have to do that for 36 months.
I guess what I'm asking, and I don't know, you're gonna have to, but you're talking about phones and internet. I mean, it seems like it all goes together. So, I mean, if we sign this 36-month agreement, are we kind of locked in with CenturyLink for the next 36 months, or can we bid it in 2019?
So the phone system is actually a separate component. So we could still bid the phone system outside of the service, but yeah, we would still be committed to CenturyLink to fulfill the obligation of this contract through 36 months.
It's just a part of it, yes.
Right.
Right. Are we talking about the hardware of the phone system?
No, that's the internet service is basically a different component than the phone system itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that with the phone system, we'll be looking at that coming up real shortly, but really it can stand on its own when it comes to getting bids on it. So,
Okay.
but I think this is needed, and I think I've been talking to the different directors and elected officials and things like that, and I think everybody is in agreement. I know when I go out to work at those remote locations, that's where you really feel it. And especially when we move to the new health department, and they're going to be using a lot of their web-based applications through that via wireless. So I mean, it's I think if it's bad now, which it is, then it's going to get worse once that happens. So.
I can vouch for the bandwidth, especially in a remote location. We're probably further south. It's definitely needed. Every year, technology grows and we use more and more internet. I would hope that we can move forward with this because it's needed. And we've talked to John a little bit. We currently have wireless out there. He's actually going to try and run some tests to see if when the guys are fueling, if they need to do something or if they need to work on a hotspot, that they can come out, like when they're fueling, they can actually get on our wireless out there to be able to download what they need to do. They've got the air cards, but he said it's a lot faster if they can get on a wireless or a hotspot like what we'd be able to provide. So, and same way with the health department, I think he's talked to them, if they're out in that area to be able to pull up to the building. It'd all be protected with passwords and stuff. It's not an open hotspot. I mean, it'd be still for county business, so.
Is that $500 a month for all?
It's in addition to what our current spend is.
But it's just total.
That's right. Yeah, it's doubling the bandwidth for the entire county, except for the sheriff's department.
Because he just upgraded. However, we would be happy
Turn
to
his down.
assist- We would happy to assist in paying for this because my plan. and
Oh, you will.
We had a conversation. I want to be able to use the health department as a hotspot as well as Public Works and the ESB. And the bandwidth isn't enough to push right now. We have to increase it for us to be able to do that.
So is that a little bit of a different conversation with putting a hotspot or some type of wireless access point outside so that he can access it or not?
Not really. The wireless access points we put in actually have the ability for different networks. So we'd actually set them on the outside network with, and password protected.
But they wouldn't need a device on the outside of the building so that they could connect or
No, no, I would think that, a lot of those, and of course, structures, they make a difference in Wi-Fi signal and things like that, but I would think that those, if we position the Wi-Fi access points around the perimeter, part of what we're going to do at the health department is we're going to go through and check the zones to make sure we're getting good benefit and a little overlap. So there's no drop in coverage, but we can do the same thing around the outside of the building too. So.
And we do spread those costs to the different departments, so there may be some budget adjustments that would have to happen this year.
Okay.
Just so you guys know that.
Charge the sheriff the most.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, too.
Yeah.
Okay, move forward. Oh, you got a contract?
Funny you should ask.
Brian, you're asking for a lot today, you know that?
You can have.
I have one, Jeff.
You can have. It's a breakdown of the different services.
I move that we sign the product and services agreement with CenturyLink Sales Solutions Incorporated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Anything else, Brian, before we go to EMS schedule?
I'll stick around for the EMS conversation.
You're up.
So as we discussed the last two meetings, I think it would help with our existing staffing if we move to some temporary shifts at at least in the short term. So what I proposed to you after our meeting last Thursday was, let's not do anything that requires a permanent solution right now. Let's stay the course and continue to try and recruit for 12-hour shifts, and then the few volunteers that we have that want to have 24s in the interim, we'll just combine their 12-hour shifts together and schedule them that way. And it will still save us openings on the schedules. We'll still reduce the amount of people we need. That'll buy us 90 days to get you more rock-solid information on what the budgetary impact would be, as well as continue our recruiting. Like I said, we just had a paramedic start first day orientation yesterday. She seems to have an interest in full-time. We have 2 full-time applicants that we're testing on Friday. So I'm a little more optimistic now than I was when we first started talking about this 3 weeks ago. So that's what I would present. It's up to you. I don't think it requires any real action. It's basically what we're doing now. We'll just formalize it a little better. So rather than asking a day shift person if they can stay at night and have tomorrow off, we'll schedule them that way for a shorter period of time on a voluntary basis. I would say up to 90 days. If about 60 days it looks like we're still in a rut and we're not going to create any more openings, then I can get with Kristen. We can start working on the spreadsheet some more and get the exact people who might move, and then that will give you an exact price tag for what a 24-hour model might cost in the 2 stations. It will also allow Matt some time here to do an assessment here like he did where he was at, and see if maybe there's some alternative patterns that we can look at.
So you'd just be able to schedule, say, a part-time person for 2 back-to-back 12-hour shifts?
Yeah. That's what we're doing now. We just take a more formalized approach with the full-time folks. So rather than scheduling on the fly, we'd say, who'd be willing to work 2 24s these weeks, and just schedule them that way so we know who's where instead of doing it the day of or the day before. That's what we're doing now. So we just formalize it with the understanding that this has a 90-day max on it, and then I'll revisit it with you at some point in the interim if we think that there's a chance that we would would propose this full-time down the road as a permanent solution. Then I already gave Kristen some names, but told her to hold off pending our conversation today, because I think there's some light at the end of the tunnel here. So let's just try it on a temporary basis, and then that will, if nothing else, it will be able to make a much more informed decision in 90 days than we can now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with the back-to-back 12-hour shifts. I mean, I just assume we not call them a 24-hour shift, but, I mean.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's all about semantics.
yeah.
So, I mean, you're working 24 hours in a row, but you're working just 2 back-to-back shifts,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Right.
And, yeah, if you need to
Okay.
schedule it out weeks in advance, I'm good with that, so.
That's what we'll do. And like I said, it just formalizes the approach that we're taking now, and people actually know when they're going to be doing the back-to-back 12s instead of the day of or the day before.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
Because they're really
said that
willing to
originally,
do that
so.
from time to time. We had some folks help out last weekend, and it seems to work right now, and we get the shifts covered, and we don't have to down any trucks, so. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks. Guess you didn't have any questions?
No, that's what my email was alluding to.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a 24-hour shift.
Yeah, so
Jeff's idea, there we
Hey,
go.
John, do I sign his? It says sheriff, or do you?
I think you kind
You
of
sign
planned it.
No, sir, you sign the front page and the bottom.
Okay, well, it's the Cole County Sheriff's Office. I didn't know if I was
That's-
are you gonna
I can't sign
deputize
this.
me?
As far as you know, you're not.
If he, yeah, let him sign it. He'll pay for it personally.
The good news is, on the bottom line, it says, Larry Benz is taking over animal control.
You're gonna be the same as Greg Gaffney. You can have a bullet, or is it a bullet and no gun, or a gun and no bullet?
He doesn't get a gun, period.
So he gets
Give him
bullets.
a bullet, yeah. He gets 1 bullet to carry around.
God. Do we have any other issues to come before us?
Got all kinds of issues.
Larry, you don't have to take this.
Dishes it out pretty good. Don't let him fool you.
I've seen it.
There's a little innocent face over there.
I've got a few things I'll bring up.
Okay.
Yes.
Real quick, just kind of bring up to speed, some things that's happened the last week, as most of you know, the accident with the mobile command unit. We got approval yesterday to start getting that worked on, so Chris emailed me last night about 6:30 to order parts today. So in all that, with the incident where the tire blew out, about 2 months ago, I started looking at the larger truck, the hazmat truck, and we were really looking at putting the front tires on that one. And it's not, it's something very expensive, because you've got, they're a little different size tire. The rear tires are the same, but the front drive axle tires are wider on that one. So I was trying to see how, working in my budget and all to do that. Of course, then this happened. Now we're looking at, as what they tell us, DOT regulates that you should change those tires every 7 years. Those tires that blew out, we put the truck in service in 2007, so the tires were 2005. And my fears on those drive axles now, that's something we should really be paying more attention, especially on those bigger trucks. So I reached out to McKnight Tire because I know they're on contract, state contract, just to get some ballpark figures. And even though those trucks are very low mileage, I mean, the Miak only had 8,700 miles on it. I think the hazmat truck's probably right in that area too. It's just more of a safety concern that I fear now that something like that happened, because they don't set out in the sun, they don't get dry rot, they don't get the checks on them and everything. So it's something we really need to look at and spending some money getting those replaced. So my biggest thing now is trying to look at, see where I can take that money out, which we have that extra money we get every year from Camden. Is what I'm thinking about doing the tire replacement on that. And as I said, I just reached out to McKnight. I haven't checked with anyone else. I don't know if we have a bid through the county.
We do bid tires, but I don't know if the actual size that you need is on the bid or not.
The big truck, I'm sure they are, aren't they, Larry? You can use the county. They use the big trucks, so I don't know if McKnight, I know there's some others, but I just kind of, since they were the people that we called and they went down, I think they treat us very fairly. They literally had a wheel in stock, one of the aluminum bud wheels. Their service call was only $125, so they had the guys on the road within 2 hours, changing front tires, the other front tire too. So it's it's kind of a rough deal on I mean, it's the first scratch that's ever been put on that truck, so it was kind of tough. Kind of more of a pride. I'm just so thankful that we had a seasoned driver, because the location he was at, if it had been a 2-lane road, we'd had some pretty serious issues. It was because he did have to cross the center line to get stopped, and got stopped before he went into the median. So as much as those trucks are, not just Cole County, but they're for the whole 13 counties in the region, and statewide, since they are Homeland Security assets. So anyway, that's my question to you all now is just, do I reach out? Is that okay? Just go ahead and reach out to get the tire replaced, but you're looking at hazmat truck, 4 new rear, 2 front, and now the MEOC will have to have 4 new rear on it. It's already got the 2 front, so we're looking at a considerable amount, $5,000 or $6,000, I'm figuring.
So obviously an issue that we need to address, but we got tires that are sitting on trucks for quite some time. Maybe we ought to try to rotate them out, maybe get with Public Works and see if we can't give them a barely used tire that they can run on a dump truck or whatever it might be, and we rotate those tires on a every 2 or 3 year basis, so that we're not just wasting a good tire that's sitting. So
that I would have never thought that truck there would have had the issue. My more fear was the other hazmat. That's something I think we ought to look at if that's the way to do it. But they're getting very low mileage.
Because I'm sure they're running super singles and heavier, probably run some radials on your dump trucks or whatever on the backs, and so.
Yeah, ours are
I mean,
all season
they're-
on the rear.
Right, they're going through tires like crazy in the winter, and so, anyway.
That's our
They
key.
get a gently used tire at a discounted rate, and we can get new tires on the MEAC and the Hazmat. We
Yeah.
can get it in the rotation, maybe.
I'm good with that. I mean, I never even thought about that. Maybe smaller trucks I'm not worried about. I mean,
Sure.
The big trucks, so that's a lot of weight. That thing being top heavy. Well, both of them are.
So
Okay.
you replaced the left one blew on the MEAC, so we replaced the right one too, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, yeah, we did them both.
The only thing is, we wouldn't probably wanna switch out the ones they got right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
Just wanna be clear.
No, I'm just saying, if we put new ones on in 2 to 3 years, maybe we need to rotate a new set on those and let you guys wear out the older set.
We just get to keep the aluminum wheels when they come.
I know.
Dress the place up a little.
Yeah.
Dump trucks look pretty.
We gotta get them animal control too.
Well, we're getting it.
Just throw that in on.
That's,
Sorry for his truck.
You know, Larry would be a good candidate for animal control too.
He's my friend.
But you have a t-shirt.
So anyway, I'll look at that and get the prices, so when we see the bills come through, you just know where, I'll just take it out. I thought I was gonna take it out of my emergency fund, but on top of all this, yesterday I get a phone call, our outdoor warning sirens, we're looking at about $5,000 repair. Well, I guess we've had some major lightning strikes. So when they went around to check them, it blew a lot of the amplifiers out in 4 different locations.
They insured?
Yes.
He said it's gonna run about 5,000,
I
so.
need to know all that.
Probably
Okay.
insured for everything but lightning strikes.
Actually,
One of them, Lomans, they got theirs bad, but they're.
Our railroad
they're
spurs are
themselves.
though.
Acts of God.
Acts of God,
Yeah, 'cause we don't know when it
Yeah,
happens.
everything-
We only do
take
ours
'em
every
out.
6 months. Say does theirs every 3 months.
Yeah, so why even have the insurance?
He called yesterday, you ain't gonna believe this, but yeah,
We got 5,000.
Yeah, the deductible's gonna be,
yeah, that's what I was afraid of, so. That and all,
If you
I'm
give me that.
trying to worry about, so, man, I ain't got that kind of money in my budget, so anyway. We'll look at that then too. I'll get with Steve and see, cause there's several, one by my house was it. I remember we had a bad lightning strike out there, went out Heritage, and a couple others. Seemed like it just hit some of the amplifiers on the speakers for some reason, which is the only thing he can think of. It had to be lightning strikes.
So do we have
Salt on this time.
Yeah. So,
we got 2 hazmat trucks now, big trucks?
Mhm.
Ours and, well, what about the one for Camden County?
we gave all that back.
Okay.
It was all junk, it was junk. We
Okay.
took the good stuff off of it.
So there's not something down there that we use if we have to respond?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
What they've kinda done on that, Chris, is they put some of the, we call operations level, where they can go up and do absorbents, dike and dam or something to get the spill slowed down till we can get there. We didn't
So
need
you
none
have
of that.
to respond all the way from
Yeah,
ESB?
yeah. We've got everything in the world we need for that, so that's just the 2 biggest topics. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that and get some guidance, so we'll do that.
Yeah, if we could try to get that on a rotation or something, we could budget
Yeah,
it a little
we're
bit.
trying to get the truck done with 4th of July coming up, so we're hoping that's gonna be done before that.
And when I sent you those estimates yesterday, that also, that McKnight was attached for what the replacements were.
Right, yeah, we'll get our money back on that, and,
Get our money back on the tire or not?
the wheel was $350 in the service call, yeah,
They're
we
gonna
should,
take
Bless you.
that, so
we might have to pay for
Take it
one
off.
right front tire, but we should get the rest of it back, I think. Okay.
Will it be done by 4th of July, Bill?
I don't know, Chris really went to work hard on that, he got with Shepley and, because that hood is set.
Shippers.
Shepherd's, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Shepherd's. They
I'm not
had it
involved.
2 days, so. But it flew a piece of metal up and hit the door, put a big scratch in the door. Other than that, we just had the front, but, they're fixing, so they gotta take the door off and repair all that too. But he thinks he can have it.
Okay.
He parks in quick enough. The good thing about that, his new building is secure inside, it's not sitting on a lot anywhere. And then we're gonna run that electrical problem down too with the batteries we had that day. That Friday wasn't good all day at all. Nerve wracking. But anyway, I'll keep you posted on any of that stuff, so I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody got any happy news?
Yeah, I got good news for you.
Do you?
Yeah, hell of a deal. So I already spoke, I think I spoke to all three of you about this. The ARC server we just bought recently, we didn't take into consideration one of our video servers, so it's not big enough. I'm gonna have to buy another one. They run about 17 grand. The good news is Brian thinks that with the one I get two. So I'm gonna be able to buy 2 of these ARC servers for the price of one. So that's, well, give it to the county and use it if we want to, but I don't have the paperwork ready for you yet, but I will. I'm gonna be leaving to go to a conference. I wanna make sure you're aware of it, because I'll send you the paperwork, and probably Bollinger will come up here to the commission meeting, we'll get ready to purchase it. But it's gonna be pretty quick, because right now our video server's not being backed up. So we're gonna move pretty quick on that, but it's 16,000? 17,194, and that'll come out of contingency. So, Brian's costing everybody a lot of money.
Yeah, when Dale was here,
Where are you going with that?
it didn't cost us as much, but.
I'm wearing the socks today, sir.
And we got the bat truck in. It's not operational. We do have a stencil. We're getting ready to put it in the shop to get a radio put in it. But if you guys want to look at it, I can have it brought up to the front after the commission meeting. If you want to come out and take a look at it, if you have not been in it and seen it yet, I can have them bring it up front. If you want to walk across the street and look at it.
I scratched it. And I told Woodson to tell you I did
Nobody
it,
wants
just so
to
you
try it.
quit worrying about it.
Nobody wants to try it. They're afraid I'm going to kill them, and I will.
He wouldn't give me a hammer.
I like the color though, tuxedo black is good. Can we put a little red bow tie on?
I know. But anyway,
Yeah.
so just keep that ARC server on the back of your head there. So you'll be getting some paperwork on that probably this week, because we want to move forward on that.
Okay.
Buy that server as soon as we can. Do you have any questions for me?
Nope.
Thank you. That's it. True.
Any other good news? Anything else?
I may we go into closed session pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri for communications with auditor, sub 17, and personnel issues, sub 3.
Second.
Roll
Sam?
call, yes.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chris?
Yes.